What's up, and welcome back to the Kinda Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by one of the coolest dudes in video games, Greg Miller.
Hello, Timothy.
The new face of video games, Blessing Adeoye Jr.
It's nice to see you're back from the dead.
What? Did I die?
Oh, you didn't listen. You didn't listen last week.
Oh, I
you
missed
died.
Gamescast last week.
Yeah.
Got it.
Big
What happened to
time,
me?
Dan.
What happened to me? You remember?
You tripped over Moose, fell on Cool Greg. Cool Greg was holding a bunch of knives.
Had a lot of knives on him.
A lot of knives. It was unfortunate.
Classic Cool Greg move. Wow. Yeah. Blessing, I'd like you to know that I made a purchase today that I think is going to excite you.
Oh, what's this?
It's a t-shirt that just has the NBA Street Volume 2 box art on it.
Wow. That's awesome.
Really
It's
sick.
fucking awesome.
I need to see this.
It's exciting stuff. Can't wait for it to get here. I definitely will wear it on this show. And of course, we have the Nitro Rifle himself, Standy Cortez.
That's me, everybody.
Is it gonna
Standy
stick?
Cortez.
Is it gonna stick? He's standing up, everybody that can't tell you.
We'll see how
Standy
these
Cortez.
Wow.
Are you
We'll
on
be
a little
switching-
balance? Are you
We'll be
balancing
switching
right
it
now?
up. I'm on the balance board right now. Yeah, today we had that stream where we dominated Champions Road. It was one of the coolest moments I've ever felt in video games. Just it's so hard to do that. 4 players beating Champions Road, and then we hopped into Call of Duty, and that's when I brought the table down. I need to sit down.
Gotta
I need
get
to be in my
serious.
position.
The
Yeah.
mouse, the keyboards. I
we're
joined
back
them
up.
in the zone, in the war zone for the
Oh my
first
gosh,
time.
how'd you
Oh,
do?
Did I get
wow.
it? I got some kills. I got
Yeah,
some
you
things
did.
going on. You know, it was pretty damn fun.
You guys
Gotta
got
say,
second a couple of times, I think.
2
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
2 times. Not
Two-time
much help
Timmy.
from me. But, you know, I was having a good time. We were joking that I'm like the civilian in a movie that has to be with all the military guys. And they just kind of bring me. I'm like, I don't even belong here.
There was a moment where I was shooting a dude and then ran into a building and jumped through the glass. And Tim goes, Andy, that was so fucking cool. And I was like, wait, what happened? He was like, you just jumped through that window, man. It was awesome.
Dude, real talk, Warzone was awesome. I can't believe how fast that game is. It feels good.
Yeah, feels great.
Damn.
And plus, you got the
Feels
machine
damn
for it, too.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. You guys can go check out that stream on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. Kinda Funny Plays, where all the Warzone streams are, and all of the Mario 3D World streams are as well, where we have finally conquered Champions Road. Like Andy said, it was one of the greatest accomplishments that we've ever done in video games.
you.
Me,
Thanks,
Nick Scarpino, Andy Cortez, and Michael Howard making our way. His first Mario game, and he beat Champions Road. By the end of it, we were just working as one perfect team. It was an Avengers moment of all of us doing exactly what we needed to do to get to the end. Oh, it was so satisfying. Go check it out.
Now,
But
Tim, did
Yes, what's up?
you know that if you all do the ground pound at the same time, it like takes out all the enemies in the immediate area?
no.
I did that randomly when I was playing with the homie last week. We did that on accident, and it took out all the enemies in the area, and we
my
were like, "What
God.
the fuck?" It felt like we were discovering something crazy.
Damn.
So fun
That
fact.
would have been real helpful for us.
Yeah.
But we did it without those cheat codes, you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? Because we're real fucking gamers out here. Speaking of being real gamers, this is the Kinda Funny Games cast, where each and every week right here on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, we come at you with all of the video game stuff that we know. I was doing the Games Daily intro there. It happens, you know what I mean? You get on a track, I'm like, oh, somebody must have came and changed that little chick, chick,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm going on the other side, you know what I mean? Nah, it's Gamescast. You know
Which
what's
one
up.
do
can
you
watch
pick?
on
Do you
YouTube.
pick the one person or the one with 8 people on
Yeah.
it? Like, which one do you pick?
the one
question.
child or the 4 adults?
Yeah.
What would you do, Bless?
Oh, I'm not answering that here. You're not
Well,
getting
it's like,
me.
child.
Look, first off, is the kid really, really good at sports? Like, will they go out to be a pro athlete? Also, on the 4 adult side, are any of them doctors? Are any of them The Rock? You know, that's
any of them
things
sex
you gotta
offenders?
Kinda,
Yep.
You gotta. Oh, sure, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Like,
Now, if you don't know what the
if
kid
it's,
can be,
one doctor, one The Rock, and then 2 sex offenders.
Kid might grow up to be a murderer too. We don't know.
But
One of
kid
the
also has
saddest
more
things-
Potential.
Today has been a very eventful day for Tim Gettys. In many ways, we conquered Champions Road and all that. We've talked about that. But the other thing is, Andy,
Thanks, Greg. Thank you, Greg.
I saw that Laura Bailey quote tweeted a Sesame Street video, and then you responded to it and saying like, "Oh my god, every time I see this, like it's fucking awesome." I'd never seen it, so I watched through it, and it's this little adorable boy talking to one of the Sesame Street monsters. I'm not familiar with this gentleman, and they're counting together, like teaching this kid how to count to 20.
Was it the
Like,
count?
oh, boom, there we go.
I'm opening it up. I'll find out who this
is
fucker
awesome.
is.
It's up on Gamescast right now. So yeah, who's this guy?
I don't know
Greg?
who the fuck this guy is.
You're telling me that's not.
What's this guy's name, Greg?
That's older Grover.
That is not older Grover. That is not
Grover.
Grover.
Sesame
Not
Street.
every blue
Grover.
person is Grover.
There's only one non-blue person that's not Grover, and that's Cookie Monster.
Now, this video goes places, though. Barrett,
Yeah.
if you could scroll to the end here, just anywhere, just click. A little more, a little more. Boom. All of a
Wait,
sudden,
is
he's
that-
old. It's him. It's him many years later. And it's like, holy shit. But then, what I don't think anybody should do is click into this and start reading the comments and stuff, because apparently, this guy's a sex offender.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh,
fucking
no.
Christ.
Yeah. God. Just be good, people.
Now, are
Son
you
of a
sure
bitch.
though?
Bring some joy into this world. What'd you say, Greg?
Damn it.
Is this like an internet thing, or is he like, you know what I mean? Like they're all making a joke, sir? They got the real information here.
Snoops.com. They on it. They on it. That's all I'm
Snopes.
saying.
Fuck.
Like I said,
Snopes.
I didn't look too far into it. But
Not Snoop Dogg's website.
Snoop is gonna
Snopes.
snoop.
anyways, you can watch this show on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames or roosterteeth.com, or you could watch it on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, where you could watch it live and ad-free with the exclusive post show, just like our Patreon producers can. The nanobiologist Tyler Ross, Joy, Joseph O. Youssef, Trent Barry, Mizuki, Man Bear Paradox, Julian the Gluten-Free Gamer, Alex J. Sandoval, Sancho West Gaming, James Hastings, Elliot, and Casey Kern did. We appreciate all of you very, very much. The housekeeping, all I want to tell you, youtube.com/kindoffunnyplays. Go check out our streams. There's a lot of fun stuff every single day. Greg, what'd you play last week
On YouTube?
for the stream?
I'm getting for the stream. I played more SWTOR. We read House of M, and we all talked about that with the weapons arbiter Chris Anka.
Oh, yeah.
And then we played more SWTOR.
Well, there you
I'll
go.
tell you
Go
what's
check that
coming
out.
up. Tell you what's coming up really, really soon. It's already kind of scheduled out. We're really worried about it. I'm very terrified of it. Bless and I, I'll be watching Bless play Resident Evil 7 for the first time.
Yeah.
It's about to get spooky, boys.
I'm
Yeah,
very
it's getting
worried
real
about it.
spooky.
Very worried about it. But also this Friday, Overwatch community stream. Bless, you'll be there.
Yeah, I'm
I'll
excited
be
for
there.
that. We're playing on
Snowback
PC,
Mike
right?
will be there. I think we're also trying to get Lucy James and Timur Hussein from GameSpot in there as well. Possibly Jessica Howard from Uppercut Crit. Hopefully we get all of them in there, and we'll do a community thing. It'll be a fun thing to play with people in chat and stuff like that.
Speaking
Fun
of
stuff.
playing with the community later today, if you're watching this on Wednesday,
Live.
Snowbike Michael and I will be playing Fall Guys, doing a server for Fall Guys Season 4.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Before we move on
Wait,
too
when
much
do you
from
do
that, Barrett, what are your thoughts on Fall Guys Season 4? I haven't been able to jump in yet.
The cool thing is that they added a mode where it's like just the new maps or whatever you want to call them, and it's really fun.
Cool.
I love the vibe of the futuristic. What do they call it? 4041 or something like that. Something cute. And it's really fun. It feels like very like what the 80s think like the future is, and it's got new fun like soundtracks, a lot of the
Lots
races.
of screen space reflections.
Yeah, exactly. I like a lot of the new races. They're fun and inventive, and like it's honestly bringing me back. Like the what was it, the knights
Medieval shit?
Yeah, the medieval stuff. Like I don't like that vibe. Just wasn't working for me. And then like also like the new races, I just don't think were like inventive enough. Whereas this one here, I've been having a lot of fun with. Even the team matches where you have to like work with a group of people have been really fun. There's one with basketball.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
That was fun.
the basketball one is actually pretty fun. And then there's like a battery one where you hold on to a battery, and then like when you hold on to the battery, you kind of like take up spaces for your own team on the floor. And you can like take back spaces from the other team and stuff like that. It's really fun. And so yeah, I've been really enjoying Fall Guys Season 4, and I'm excited to play with Snow Bicycle later today over on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, private or not private, custom server, playing on PC. Come join us.
Greg,
Go ahead,
Miller,
Greg Miller.
what's up?
I want you to know, Tim, that this kid in the Sesame Street video is not proven to be a sex offender.
I mean, did you listen to what I was saying?
Snopes.com says it's unproven. You
Yeah,
were the one
but-
pointing that out as like that's like the jazz. That's
Well, what
where
I
to
was
go.
saying,
That's it.
what I was saying is like I was digging into the comments, and as they go into it, it's pretty deep. And I said I was backing off of that. I wasn't going too deep into this, but that's what they were saying. And according to
I
them,
have seen not one
based-
comment yet on this fucking tweet.
I had to scroll a long time to get
I've
to
seen
it.
a lot of stuff, and I'm telling you the facts I know right now. is that what happened with this man is that Snopes.com has some stuff, and then the commenters are taking a bunch of facts about a sex offender list, and they add up with this guy perfectly. That's what I know. That's what I've seen.
What
Very
Snopes
reckless,
says
dude.
this
This poor
unproven.
innocent
What's
Very
true?
reckless.
John shares plenty of biographical information with a known registered sex offender, including their names, John Bernard Williams, their birth years, 1969, their mother's first names, Trina, and the state of their last known residence, Texas. What's undetermined? We can't definitively prove or disprove that John grew up to be a registered sex offender.
This is what happens.
I just want the
People
full
talk
story
over
out
each other.
there. All right.
I appreciate that. That's what I was telling people. Do
I feel
the
better
homework
about
yourself.
today then.
Now we're
Look
talking
in
about the
your
real
comments.
human being.
Look
We're
at
not
the-
talking about the blue Sesame Street character.
No, he's definitely
Yeah.
a sex offender.
Do we know? I was gonna say, do we know about him?
We don't
Yeah,
know.
we know their
that's
names.
why he's
There's
not
a
on the show
reason you
anymore.
don't know that Muppet's name. All
That's
right.
why
'Cause they-
Grover replaced him. Yeah.
Regardless, don't be a sex offender. Be cool.
Very true.
Be better.
Very
That's,
true.
That's really all that we need
That
to know.
is the
here.
heart of
That's a
this
good
matter.
message.
Barrett, have you played any of the squad stuff in Fall Guys Season 4?
No, and I'm interested with it, and maybe while we're waiting for people to come into the custom server, maybe Mike and I will try to fuck around with that. And I'm not entirely so it's like because you could technically squad up in Fall Guys before, but there's still only one winner. Is this like a thing now where like the entire team wins together?
From what I was told,
Mm-hmm.
if you die, as long as one member of your squad's still alive for the next round, you come back in the next round. So it's trying to
interesting.
incentivize, not having because when one person dies and you're like only one game in, everyone's like, fuck it, let's quit out, so we're all together.
Yeah.
So that's smart
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah, that
Which
is
I got to say, I know I'm so behind on this, but playing Warzone today for the first time, I am so impressed with all the game modes and like how much thought is put into it and how battle royales have just been so finely tuned over the last like 3 years to just get to a point where like any inconvenience is just gone. It's just like, oh, you just want to revive faster? Cool. The gulag? Yeah, that's a thing. By the way, Greg, guess
Yeah.
who got out of the gulag today?
You got out of the
This
Google.
I got
motherfucker.
out of the
Whoa.
Google,
This
baby.
motherfucker.
And I felt real good about it.
That's
I
a
felt
good
real
feeling.
about
That's
it.
great, Tim.
Yeah, there was an energy just flowing through.
Because
It
Tim,
was-
I'll tell you what, my gulag success rate probably like maybe 10%. You put me out on the field with a sniper rifle, I'm guaranteed to just frag out of my mind. But put me in the gulag and I'm useless as hell. I just never know where they're coming from. The sound is always shitty. Warzone is known for having some of the worst spatial sound, where a person, you don't hear their footstep till they're 1 foot behind you and you're dead. Shoddy to the head, back to the head. It's over. So yeah, gulag is really, really awful. So you did a great job today. I'm really proud of you. Can we get another round of applause for Tim?
I appreciate it. I'll take it.
I love it, and this isn't at all. This isn't criticizing.
Offend
it.
away. Offend away.
No. It's not meant to offend anybody. For real. I love the standing desk Andy has. I'm getting my own here in a couple weeks. But the new setup has Andy looking off camera as if he's being interviewed on a documentary. It's killing me. He's like, I love Tim, and I just want to say all these different.
Really?
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm usually looking at the right.
Yeah, but I think
monitor.
it's because you're usually closer to it that it doesn't
Yeah.
look like you're so far off the cam.
Like,
And I'm
'cause
not
I
saying
can
you need
move
to
it right
change
here.
it,
And, like
it's just-
I can look at Discord right
No,
here.
no. Do this again. I'm not trying to get in your head about it. I actually like it, and especially the way you're in the. Well, I guess hold on.
Here's a clue with Andy.
Yeah,
though.
the way you're in the frame here, like it look good. But it's just like you're just like, and listen, that's why the Bulls are the best team. You know what I mean? It's just-
Yeah, like there's
I took it
multiple
personally.
like there's multiple shots in the interview.
Yeah,
you know,
they're gonna cut
there's
to
a
these
head on,
different
I'm
ones,
looking,
yeah.
I'm talking to it, but then it cuts to the black and white one, and I'm like over here talking.
Yeah, here's the thing with Andy though. When you tell him you're not trying to get into his head, it's too late. You're in his head.
Oh, it's way too late.
But look
yeah,
at him. He's
definitely.
got a new confidence standing. He's got energy to him standing. He should
Sandy
sleep standing up.
Cortez.
I mean, look, I stood up all the time. I've been sitting on my ass for the whole goddamn year, and I feel better about myself already. Like
Sure.
I'm looking at my Fitbit more, and I'm seeing the calories going up, the calories burnt going up. I'm constantly moving and shaking. Like I feel so much better about my situation now. My
Proud of
body's
you,
still very sore though from building the desk. Very sore.
Andy, I want to keep with you for a second. I want to hear about this Hollow Knight game because every week I'm asking
The
you what
hottest.
games that you've been playing on to
The
talk
latest
about our
and
Gamescast,
greatest,
and we haven't talked too much about Hollow Knight unless you talked about it when I wasn't here last week. What's your status with the game now?
I feel like I'm getting really close to finishing this game finally. It is getting more and more difficult. These boss fights are intense as hell, but it gives you that Souls-like satisfaction when you finally figure out a boss's patterns and you conquer it, and it feels amazing. It's such a smart game. You don't really get the feeling of the cleverness in its design until about halfway through, where I talked about when I broke down Dark Souls 1 several like a month or two or whatever it was. When you have those moments of those level design kind of, holy crap, I can't believe this thing is next to this. I didn't start getting that until halfway through my experience through Hollow Knight. I didn't know it had anything like that. It is a Metroidvania essentially, but you can use abilities. I got to the very, very top of one area, and I use an ability where you hold down left trigger and you sort of charge up on a move, and then you shoot forward, and it helps you get to other areas in the world that you may not have gotten to prior because maybe you didn't have double jump or you didn't have your dash or whatever. And suddenly I'm flying across the sky, like, where the hell am I going? And then I arrived in the spawn of the first place you ever land in, the first, like, where you start the video game at. So very smart. It's apparently has a very, very deep lore as well that I'm excited to sort of dig into because I didn't really know. For all I know, you're just killing these bugs, and there's this sort of there's a dream state, and there are bosses that when you read up on their backstory, like, oh, that person's an asshole, apparently there's a lot of moments like that and a lot of things to the lore that I just haven't really dug into yet. But man, the boss fights are an absolute blast. Like, I think Bless would dig the hell out of them. Tim, you would dig the hell out of them too, because very much like a Cuphead sort of thing where you are in 2D and you have to. My favorite sort of boss fights are the reactionary type boss fights. You see the enemies attacking down here, dash left, it's coming from the right, jump up, and you have those really quick sort of, I have to react perfectly. It's the boss fights that really piss me off when it'll shoot some sort of projectile that's really slowly moving and I have to guess where it's going to land and get out of the way. I'm so bad at spatial awareness like that, but when it's sort of quick Mario Maker type reactionary movements, I love boss fights like that, and this game has them in spades. So I'm getting really close. I feel like I am maybe 5 hours away from beating it, and it's a very, very large game too. So you could probably main path it and kill every boss you need to, but there are tons of optional bosses as well, and it's a blast. The upgrade system's fun as hell. There are these things called charms, sort of like runes that you might equip, and the charms are your attack is longer now. Your attack sort of radius is longer now, or you can every time you hit, you gain more souls or whatever you want to call them. Like, this game is just so easy to compare to Souls games. It's really fun. It's addicting, and I can't wait to get back to it because I'm so freaking close. But
have you become one of those people that's like, where is Hollow Knight Silk Song?
That's the whole point of this. Yeah, that was my goal.
Well, that's the whole point of this. Once I finish it, I want to be able to bitch with everybody else.
I wanted to become where is Silk Song? Yeah, because I've already kind of encountered that character that they are always showing on Silk Song, where it's sort of like I think it's a hornet is what it is. Maybe it's a mantis. I'm not sure what the hell the Silk Song character looking thing is. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's badass. It's really cool, and I think it's a game that a lot of people should try out if you're super into more difficult style boss fights in a 2D game. I've been having a lot of fun with it. Getting close.
Barrett, can you bring up the video I sent to Assets when you have a chance, please? Andy, after Hollow Knight, do you think you're going to be looking for another one of these like 2D type Metroidvania Souls-like games?
No, because I think next I'm going to try to take down Mario Sunshine for the first time. I've never played Mario Sunshine.
Wow.
When you say take down, do you mean beat, or are you trying to like 120 star it?
Beat it. Nah, I'm not trying to complete. I'm not a completionist in that way with Mario games. I'm totally fine beating it and moving on,
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to watch those streams. There's going to be some real frustrating parts when you get to that pachinko machine.
I've heard it's frustrating in a fun way, where I'm just going to be mad and getting annoyed at what the game makes you do.
Sure.
Yeah, let's keep that energy for now.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see.
I don't know if it's going to be
Mario
exactly
Sunshine
like Galaxy.
is really damn good. Really damn good. But yeah, playing it after Galaxy, that might be a little bit rougher. But Barrett, are you ready for this?
Yeah, no.
Let's check it out. There's this game called The Last Faith. I don't know if you guys have seen like all the viral videos going around Twitter. This coming out.
I guess it would be nice.
It's a Kickstarter thing right now, and it's another one of those 2D Metroidvania Dark Souls type games. And I just can't believe how sick so much of this looks. Like, just skip forward a little bit in the trailer.
Oh my god. Yeah, this has like big
Like-
Castlevania energy, but way
Oh,
more.
go,
like
go,
Bloodborne.
go
That looks
like
like a
10
Bloodborne
seconds,
enemy.
Go 10 seconds back from where you were. There's like this moment where he like jumps and has these freaking wings.
Oh,
Are you
Oh,
kidding
yeah.
me? Like this is sick as
This
hell.
looks super cool.
Yeah, so go check it out. It's called The Last
This,
Fate.
you said it's a Kickstarter?
Yeah, it's on Kickstarter right now. It's been up there for a while. Like the first trailer for this game was in 2020, early 2020. So
I was about to mention, like, I was thinking
Oh my
recently.
God.
damn, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool. The abilities. Oh my god. Yeah, he has like a bunch of abilities where he can just shoot stuff out of his arms, like lightning and fire and shit. That looks really cool.
Give me one sec. I'm gonna Wikipedia this to get some more info on it.
I was thinking recently about how, video games on Kickstarter were so ubiquitous, and now I just haven't seen a whole lot on Kickstarter. And I
You
wonder
haven't
if it was-
seen a lot of Kickstarter. You're not seeing them get as much press as they were before.
maybe press, yeah.
I think
'cause
that's the bigger thing about it, where everybody's burned out on talking about them, and it's such a saturated market now.
yeah.
But they're still getting funded, which is awesome because it is
Yeah.
that thing where the ones I see, you'll see like, oh, I wonder how they're doing. You click on it, they've still crushed their goal.
Okay, yeah. So
There was one thing go
they
ahead.
crushed this. They did it. They got 210,000 pounds, and they were only trying to get 45,000. So that's
so
really
many
good.
tons.
Yeah. Oh, so many tons. But yeah, there was an update on March 8th saying that they're excited. The backers demo is here, so people can play
Oh.
it now. Very cool stuff. Anyway,
Yeah.
it looks super great. Last Faith.
Yeah, that looks awesome as hell.
Hold on
Uh,
1 second, because if we're talking about cool Kickstarters, which I enjoy doing because we don't, I want to toss this one up. It's funded. Barrett, I'm tossing it over to you. It's from a kind of funny best friend. Barrett, it's coming to you right now. Bam. And it's called Pine. This was hit up. I had tweeted about this. Tom Booth had hit me up, who isn't a name I recognize, but I recognized art he had done for me. He had done kind of funny fan art of me and Portillo forever ago. Like, I mean, like when we were at
yeah.
IGN stuff. And so he put out this Pine, a story-driven game, a story about loss, letting go, told through illustration, animation, and interaction. And I think the art style is just so fucking dope.
He's got
Like,
an amazing
so-
style. I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly, right. And so yeah, they asked for a lot of. I don't know how to check that, but they made over $116,000 to finish this game and get it out to everybody, which I just think looks dope as hell. They're showing it on the iPhone as you move around and stuff. But doing puzzles like this, it's kind of got that Florence vibe to it right now. We're seeing them plant some vegetables and go through and do some touch and make some shadow puppets and stuff like that. But I'm so in for when this comes out.
You're gonna cry. Like everybody's gonna cry when they play this.
True story, I cry all the time.
Yeah.
That's my secret.
Wow.
I'm always crying.
I'm always crying. But Andy, after you do Mario Sunshine, you should pop into Ori Will of the Wisps, because I know you like them dodges. I know you like traversal and all that stuff in that game. Whew, got that in
Dashes
space.
into parries.
That 120 frames per second now.
Yeah, I know I know those games are amazing, and I really don't have a good reason for not playing it other than just I'd rather play other stuff, because I've hopped into the intro of it, and yeah, I don't know what it is about it. I know I'll end up liking it, right? But something initially about just those first few moments, I also think it's the type of thing where it's 3 a.m. I'm like, oh, it's on Game Pass. Let me download that, and then I just stop because I go 10 minutes in and it's like, all right, well, it's late. I kind of understand what's going on here, but
Yeah, I think it'd be a fun stream game for you at some point if you get a chance. Moving on though, I want to talk about PS4 to PS5 upgrades. This is kind of just like a big bulk segment of stuff. Because Greg, I know you talked about Avengers a lot on PS I Love You. You can find on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames.
Thank you.
But I played Crash Bandicoot 4's upgrade a little bit. Barrett's been playing Miles Morales. He platinumed not the PS4 to PS5 upgrade, but the what's it called?
It's
Barrett?
a performance RT, so it's performance ray tracing, which I don't think the game launched with. I think
No.
it came out like a month
You had to
after.
choose before, yeah.
Yeah, and so you had to either choose on the PS5 version either performance or ray tracing, and so I still had like 4 or 5 trophies left. One of them was new game, complete the game on New Game Plus, and so I decided to boot it up because I haven't really been playing much outside of my streams. So I was like, let's finally go back and platinum this guy, and it was awesome to have that performance ray tracing mode accessible. Where I think the thing that gets sacrificed is the shit, what's
resolution?
Yeah, the resolution. I think it scales from 1080 to 1440p depending on like what other assets need to be like reallocated and shit like that. But it was damn pretty, let me tell you. Like on the 4K OLED with 60 frames per second with the ray tracing, which I never felt like I needed as much as the 60 frames, but having it all together with the scalability of the why do I keep fucking blanking on the name? The resolution was it was fantastic, and it was really cool to see. Like, it really felt like next gen, seeing that all come together, and it was really impressive. It was, I remember when they were talking about it, Insomniac, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's like we can do that pretty easy," and it was something we were trying to launch with, but there was just like a couple things here and there, and I hope to see more games in the future kind of have that. Kind of like half solution to both of those things of performance and ray tracing and all that stuff, because like I didn't miss the 4K. Like the 4K didn't feel like something that was like, oh man, like this could have looked so much better with performance and the 4K and maybe without the ray tracing. Like it was all just fantastic to watch.
Yeah.
It's awesome to hear that you didn't miss it, because that was one of the things where I was playing the game where I was like, cool, I'm gonna do performance mode because performance mode looks super slick, but I always felt that I was missing ray tracing and missing resolution, and so I would go back and forth as I was playing, and I ultimately sided with performance just because I really liked the 60 FPS. But to hear it didn't sound like you were missing too much when you were playing.
Yeah,
Sounds like
and
a
now,
very
like,
nice thing.
Now that I'm in the the PC community and I've got like my 1440p monitor and stuff like that, like anything that's like above that, it's like, all right, that's cool. I don't necessarily need the 4K, but it's nice if it's ever there. And just because like it's next gen, like the like all the character models look really good. So like again, even without the 4K, the scalability between 1080 and 1440p, it still looks really, really great. So yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder as we get like further into next gen, when the console side of things are games that are being made for PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. Like, I wonder if they're going to continue giving us the options, or if there's just going to be
One
the
day
default.
where
Hey,
it's
it is what it is, or not even that it's all, but it's they kind of give up on certain things because they realize that it's like not worth giving the options for this reason or that reason or whatever. Or if it's just going to become more and more like PC gaming, where at this point there's at least 3 options, right, to play Miles Morales, or was there more added besides this? Do you know?
I think that was it. I think it was just the ones that I could load up were performance and performance RT. I think. I don't remember.
I'd be interested to see what the statistics are, or what Insomniac's seeing on their side. You know, what
like
people
what
are
they're seeing.
choosing.
Yeah.
But also, I guess going into that, not only what people are choosing, but what people even have at their house. Like maybe people don't even have 4K TVs yet. You know,
Which I can only imagine
still...
like playing this mode on a 1080 or whatever, or even just like a 1440p screen. Like it's got to look also just completely incredible. And having that option for people who don't have 4K screens has got to be dope.
It's one of those things where I think about Insomniac's crazy good tech and id Software's crazy good tech just shared with everybody, you know? Because there's no reason that these games play so well and look so damn good and so smooth. Tim, did you ever fire up Doom Eternal?
Not yet. No. But I mean, dude, even today,
God.
Warzone at 240 frames per second, I'm like, good Lord.
Yeah.
And like, because that's a game that's so fast that it's like you actually feel it compared to like I was playing Halo or some other things, and it's like, it's a little slower, and it's like, you definitely don't need it.
Doom is so
down
smooth.
like the fact that Doom Eternal can look as great as it does on ultra settings and still run at the most ridiculous of frame rates, like 170 and up. Like just
you feel like
share
the
that
Flash.
tech.
You feel like you're moving in fast.
It's
motion.
blistering, man.
Yeah,
Share the
it's
tech.
incredible. But I come at this from like a weird place because I feel like I wish I didn't have the choice a lot of the time. Like I wish I didn't have to choose. You know, I would love for the standard 2B devs being like, all right, this is our vision. Our vision is for you guys to play with ray tracing and X, Y, and Z on these types of settings, and this is how we want you to play, and that's going to be the one option. But then I also get the other side of it too, where people have different monitors and different setups, and so you probably can't get the best out of all those different setups, right? Because not everybody has 120 FPS or 4K or whatever.
But there's still that feeling, right, where it's like you see one and you're like, oh, I like this, and then you go to the other, you're like, well, I like this, but I like that.
Yeah.
Like you want that best of both worlds, like Miles has done now.
Yeah. So that's an interesting thing with Ratchet coming out, also made by Insomniac. This one PS5 only, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah,
that's correct.
because the stuff that they're trying to do wouldn't work on a PS4.
So what do we think the options are going to be there? Do you think it's going to launch with 2 different options, 3 different options, 1?
I think it'll be 2 or 3.
I think they'll launch with 2, and maybe it'll be the same way with Miles Morales, where maybe like a month or 2 down the line, maybe we get a similar performance ray tracing thing, especially with like trying to wrap that game up working from home and stuff. It'll be interesting to see what they're able to pull off from home, you know.
So you're saying 2, Barrett?
I'm saying they launch with 2, and then I would say it's probably likely that we get a 3rd one down the line.
Blessing, what do you say?
I say 3. I think we get the same 3 options we got on Miles Morales, because I figure them adding that option to Miles Morales is them figuring it out and understanding that that is a thing that people want. And it seems like them adding that is a big people enjoy that. People are very happy about that addition, and so I think they identify that and go, okay, we're going to prioritize this and have it at launch.
That'd be incredible.
What do you
man.
think?
3.
Tim?
I think 3, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it's 1, and the 1 is the performance.
I'm thinking
Zach
pizza.
Zuizin at Kotaku reports Ratchet and Clank Apart will have a 60 frame per second mode, but that's not the full story. Insomniac has confirmed today that Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart will have 2 different modes, one running in 4K at 30 frames per second, and the other running in lower resolution at 60 frames per second.
That's a bummer.
Now, when was this written?
This was written in August 2020.
Okay.
Oh, then I'd say throw that out, right? Because
what?
that's before they added that's before they even added the 3rd one into Miles Morales.
That's true, but
Anything can happen. You can change
anything can
anything.
happen.
That's where they're standing right now, though. Yeah,
that's true.
I think as they keep on figuring out the tech and getting more comfortable with it, I wouldn't be surprised if they say, yes, you can run 60 frames. And again, the ray tracing that they're doing is very selective, right? Like they aren't making everything ray traced, because that's just a pain in the ass to do or not a pain in the ass to do, but a pain in the ass to process. But they can make, like they mentioned in interviews, that only Clank is ray traced, or only the ground in this area is ray traced. Like they don't need to add it everywhere. So right. I think we'd see more advancements. I got something in my fucking eye, dude.
I got one for you
he's
from
getting so emotional.
CCF Tech if you want to. Over there, they write, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart PS5 runs in dynamic 4K resolution with HDR. Performance mode targets 60 frames per second. This is the September 30th, 2020, right? Some interesting new Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart PS5 tidbits have surfaced online, including details about the game's resolution and frame rate. Earlier today, Sony updated its PS5 game pages, and with that comes some additional info on the game. We already knew that the game will offer a 60 frame per second mode, and we now also have some additional details about rendering resolution. As listed on the update game page, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is displayed in, quote, dynamic 4K and HDR instead of native 4K resolution. This implies that the game dynamically changes between resolutions depending on what is happening on the screen in order to preserve visual quality and frame rate. Quote, stunning visuals, enhanced lighting and ray tracing make for super sharp visual fidelity, the updated page now reads. Displayed in crisp, dynamic 4K and HDR, behold dazzling in-game worlds as you work to save the universe. Enjoy performance mode to experience a targeted 60 frames per second frame rate as you encounter new enemies across multiple dimensions.
I mean, that sounds rad. That sounds like the Miles Morales thing, right? Where you're kind of getting best of both worlds, a targeted 60 and RTX.
Get the best of both worlds.
I love them using the word dazzling. That was a good use of dazzling.
So, I mean, a question for you guys going around the group. If there were the 3 options, which one would you take?
Oh, I would do the ray trace performance that Barrett described earlier. That honestly
fantastic.
sounds like the ideal, because that was the one thing I felt like I was missing when I was playing Miles Morales. When I was playing 60 FPS, was it'd be nice if I could just get those reflections. It'd be nice if I could just get the ray tracing, because that's been a big seller for what next gen is. Ray tracing has been one of the few terms that they've been throwing around from both Xbox and PlayStation, and so that's something that I want to experience out of most of my next gen games. And so 60 FPS ray tracing for me would be the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the option, sure, but it's 60 frames per second or bust. That's what the break is for me, right?
Same.
Andy?
Oh, totally same. Yeah, I'm always a frame rate over visuals person. And the thing that, again, I just wish Sony did the thing Xbox lets you do, man. Let me play my game at 1440p, you know, and then you can scale however you want, like do whatever you want. Like you could say it's scaling up to 4K, but I just hate that it's 1080p or 4K, and there's no in between. That's a huge bummer. Yeah,
because that's totally the thing. 1440p 60 RTX would be like that's the dream, right? Well, the dream would be 4K, but like the realistic dream of these systems. But it's funny. So all 5 of us say the exact same thing. I wonder if we were to poll the world where it would lie, because that is where it comes down to then just have that one option, right? Like if we can get there on console, that's the difference between PC and console. Like I wonder why.
I think they try to give the options, right, because what's the point of having that sticker that says 4K if not all of your exclusive games are gonna have the option to hit 4K, right? I think that's it's just kind of like one of the Sony like marketing things of like, all right, like let's just have a mode where people can have their 4K if they really want it, since this is like a marketing thing for us, you know.
Yeah.
Well, but I also think that Nvidia puts 8K all over their shit too now, and what percentage of people are doing 8K?
Yeah, the PS5 also says 8K.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, interesting stuff.
Silly as hell.
But besides resolution, go for it, Greg.
I was going to say that we're not leaving here. You asked about Avengers. What do you want to know about Avengers? You said the A word. What do you want to know?
Well, I just kind of want to know just what all of our experiences is with the whole PS4 to 5 upgrades, patches, and all that stuff. Because to me, like I haven't played the Miles Morales, like that type of performance upgrade, but I've been playing a little bit of Crash 4 just to see the differences. And the resolution, frame rate, and all that stuff, don't really notice. Like it already looked and felt really good to begin with. But oh my God, the loading, especially for a game that is that trial and error. And like the loading was already good in Crash 4 on the PS4. I was playing on the Pro, but playing it on 5, it's essentially instant. And I'm so excited that this Friday, the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 PS5 upgrade is coming out. And
Oh my God,
I put about 12 hours in that game in the last week, and I'm planning to play a lot more. And I'm hoping that the PS5 stuff gets just the retry loading time down, because that's a lot of the loop there going between levels. But Greg, what's your experience been now with Avengers, which is a big game, lots of loading, lots of stuff going on from PS4 to PS5?
I mean, it's awesome in terms of load times, like not the actual ability of bringing your save over from the PlayStation 4 version, which was a nightmare for so many people. Once the game is actually running on PlayStation 5, it's insane. Digital Foundry did a whole article comparing it all, and I think they saw one of the loads go from 62 seconds on the PlayStation 4 version to 4 seconds.
Whoa!
Bring it up.
Holy
Oh my God.
That's
I read it off of
crazy.
IGN. I read the.
Do you feel that though? Like, okay,
Yes,
that's
100%, dude.
stats.
It's exactly.
Man.
We're back to when we first got the PlayStation 5, and the joke was, oh, loading screen, grab my. Oh, it's already fucking over. Like I'm doing the same thing where I go to pull up Twitter, and I'm like, oh fuck, like I don't need to kill time on the Quinjet. Hold on, I'm on IGN.com. This is a Joe Scrabble's article. As Digital Foundry points out, the PS4 Pro version of the game takes around 62 seconds to load one of the game's chapters, with the PS5 managing the same feat in just 4 seconds. The game's community is impressed with one of the top-rated posts being, I know everyone's talking about the roadmap and Hawkeye, but seriously, bro, I'm losing it over PS4 load times, bro. And so, yeah, you do definitely feel that. I think where you go through and feel it so much faster. Click through the Digital Foundry article where they have a ton more stuff in here, but it's way more giant old conversations about it than it is quick breakouts for me to look at. And then visually, it looks great. Like there's a weird thing. I saw Imran tweet about it today that I have the same thing, that gameplay looks super sharp in really crystal clear, beautiful, colorful. But then like the overlay for text looks blurry for something that's happening. And somebody responded.
So the UI
Imran
still at like
explained
1080.
it. I don't know what it is. Yeah, if that's what it is.
The UI must still be displaying at 1080 or at a lower res or whatever. That may just be a bug. I don't know if that ever.
Yeah, I mean that's not by choice. I'm sure. Next patch will go in there and do something.
That's cool though. So that's like a combination of Crystal Dynamics not only optimizing the game and continuing to work on optimization, but also, hey, we have this amazing tech in this PS5 now that we can take advantage of too. So both of those, like I thought it was going to be, I mean, that was a legitimate reaction for me, Greg, because I thought it was going to be like 30 seconds. I would be like, oh, good, they cut it in half. Good for them. But holy shit, that's a massive improvement.
Hold on.
I'm looking on Imran's tweet here, from this morning, or no, last night actually, blah, blah, blah. And somebody responds, the dynamic resolution scaling is also applied to the text for the game for some reason. So when the image resolution, for example, drops from 1900p to 1440p, this all happens with also happens with the text. So I don't know what any of that means, but it's something I'm sure they didn't design and will have fixed. But I noticed it too, and I saw Imran call it out, so it wasn't just me.
Yeah,
well, that's
it's
an
like
interesting
when I
thing
would
too with the Xbox, like the Series X, where the main page, I'm blanking on the word for that right now.
Homepage.
But just the homepage is like not 4K. And it's like it's not the end of the world, obviously, but it's just like it's weird that like that stuff's not as sharp as the actual games themselves when it is just kind of UI stuff. And I imagine they're gonna fix that when there's like a proper Xbox update for the dashboard.
Yeah, there's another one here
That's
too.
what I was looking
Here
for.
it is.
Scrabble's article goes on to talk about fans are blah blah. There's a video they were all loving that shows the player. This is Avengers. Shows the player booting all the way from the PS5 home screen to playing the game in around 34 seconds. And you remember from
when you did the video of us.
Yeah,
talking.
we did the video right when we had Xbox Series X for the first time, and I was able to show stuff from that of how we're like, oh, look at how much faster it gets through on Avengers, and that was still a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the game pulled up right now on my PS5, and I went from menu to game, and it was literally 4 seconds to get from the Avengers initiative into the actual ship, which is really pretty impressive.
I re-downloaded it. I fired it up, and I think I lucked into everything saving correctly, but I also don't know if that's true because it put me in the harm room with Tony Stark, and they were like, "Do the harm room stuff, Tony." I was like, "Oh fuck, is this the training thing?"
But is it how to play Tony or is it something else?
It's how to play Tony.
That doesn't sound good. Because there was they did when they updated the game, they a couple updates ago, they added some changes and they put a harm room back on the table that was like, hey, this is how I remember seeing this harm room flashing forever. I was like, well, I did all these, and then I entered in. I was like, oh, it's explaining new systems and mechanics. But I don't know if that's what you're seeing or not.
So I guess I didn't look into it then, because I thought like, wow, I must have just done everything correctly. Because
well, you might have though, because I mean, like, what's your
gamer sense? You know,
like, it doesn't make sense that you would load into a harm room even if you hadn't played multiplayer yet. You can troubleshoot offline if you want, but I mean, like, I would say go in and look at your characters. And
it was all of us around the war table. Look, and then Jarvis, talking to us or whatever, and then Maria Hill's talking to us, and then they said, Iron Man, go to the harm room. But it's I don't know, Greg.
I think that might be them. That might be them showing you the new customizable harm rooms. But again, that no matter what, guess what? This isn't good onboarding if you don't know what the fuck's happening.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like it's totally fucked up. I mean, like, maybe not lucked out because this game owes me so fucking much. But like, I had the same thing where I didn't run into the problem that so many other people did with getting the PlayStation 4 version to work on or the PlayStation. So if you're not paying attention, Avengers released their PlayStation 5 update, or the PlayStation 5 native version of the game. Great. Your save transfers over, or you can transfer your save over. Great. People were super stoked. They deleted PS4 version of Avengers. They downloaded the PlayStation 5 version of Avengers. Then they got in there and realized they actually needed their PlayStation 4 version of the Avengers to upload their PlayStation 4 save of Avengers to the Crystal server side, because remember, for some reason with Avengers, all the saves are local, which is totally stupid. Then you have to start your PlayStation 5 version, and then even though the PlayStation 4 says PlayStation 4 version says when you start the PlayStation 5 version, you'll need to go here and download it, it actually automatically downloads it. So people were then on top of having already deleted it, on top of not having enough space for both versions of the games, on top of having to re-download a game, and if you have bad internet, it takes forever. They were doing the thing where they started the PlayStation 5 version and then it would fucking hard lock and crash on some of them. And like Fran had a whole thread about all his shit and yada yada yada. And again, I didn't have these problems, but that is like one of my huge pet peeves about video games, where I tweet about something I have a problem with, and people are like, work for me. Well, it's like, well, that's not an acceptable excuse. Like, clearly there were enough people having this problem that there were articles written about it and all sorts of stuff about it.
Yeah, I haven't done it with Avengers, but I am 2 for 2 fucking up the process with my PS4 to PS5 upgrades with both Spider-Man Remastered and Crash 4. Where I deleted the PS4 one, and then I get into the PS5. I'm like, fuck, and then I have to re-download it to upload. I'm like, god damn it. So
I had similar ones with
PSA for everyone.
Yeah.
I saw Jeff Gerstmann say this today on Twitter that the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater patch for PS4 is out today. So you can get your save uploaded now. So on Friday when the PS5 one's out, you're ready to freaking go. And I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, it's funny. With the Avengers stuff happening, it was interesting to see so many people start speaking up and like, "We told you smart delivery was great," and yada yada yada. And it's like, yeah, it really is. And I don't, you know what I mean? Like, it's fucking crazy that Sony bungled this like they did, and that this is how the PlayStation 5 reads saves and all this other stuff. But I'm also constantly of the mindset of like, but how much longer are we worried about this? Like, how much longer does this matter? How many more PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 upgrades are coming, or PlayStation 5 versions of games we care about coming before this is something we look back at and we're like, remember on PS3 when the PlayStation Store was a web browser? Like, no, when you talk about the PS3, you don't bag on it for that anymore.
Yeah, and obviously this is a different statement, but just to give more props to Xbox, speaking of Ori, like recently and Halo even, Andy, I got my PC all set up and stuff and been trying to play a little more on mouse and keyboard and downloading Xbox games, loading them up, and just my saves are there. I'm in endgame Ori Will of the Wisp stuff, like all my Halo campaign stuff is there. I'm like, damn, like this is just, it worked. I didn't need to upload or download anything. It just is there and it's awesome. So good on you guys.
Dude, I mean, like you say, not to. Well, actually, I'm sorry, I already blanked on what you said. But basically, you're saying like not to drive it home or whatever. Xbox deserves all the praise in the world for having such a seamless, great system. As Blessing and I talked about on PS I Love You this week, of this nonsense of the Vita, PS3, PSP store closing and you won't be able to buy games anymore. The fact that that's just not a problem for Xbox people and the purchases you've made and everything being unified. And like, here we are with the PlayStation 5. Yeah, exactly. And here we are with the PlayStation 5 and we're like, we can't fucking get a save off of a PS4 version of the game that's local to the fucking thing without having both installed. Like, how is that possible?
Yeah, it's silly. But before we move on, let me tell you about our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by ExpressVPN. And normally I kind of ad-lib the ad reads because I know what's coming and I know how to hit all the points and stuff. But this one's special and I want to make sure that I do the copy justice because it is something special. I know that none of you watch porn, but just in case you have any friends that do, you'll want to pay attention to this. With everything going on in the world, governments have increased their surveillance. They're using your devices to track your location, movements, and in many countries, your internet activity. You don't want to be literally caught with your pants down. And one of the best ways to keep your online browsing activity private is by using ExpressVPN. When you use ExpressVPN, your internet connection is rerouted through a secure encrypted server so you can surf the web anonymously without anyone looking over your shoulder. Look, I know you probably think all you have to do is use incognito mode and no one can see what you're watching every last. I'm not going too far with this, you know what I mean? There's just a lot of videos that you could be watching, but you're wrong. Even when you use incognito mode, your internet provider like Comcast or AT&T can see every single website you visit. And if you live on campus or use the shared Wi-Fi, your network admin can too. To be honest, it's kind of scary. That's why you should be using ExpressVPN. I use ExpressVPN because, I don't know, not me, but friends sometimes use my computer. Without ExpressVPN, you're giving people a free license to peek over your shoulder and see all the freaky shit you're looking at. They put that. They wanted me to say that. I love it. So protect your privacy today and get 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. Visit expressvpn.com/kindafunny. That's expressvpn.com/kindafunny for 3 months free with a 1-year package. I'm telling you, ExpressVPN, all jokes aside, all that stuff, it's great. It's awesome. It just works. And it's a good thing to have. expressvpn.com/kindafunny to learn more. So now it's topic of the show time. It's a review, everybody. Our first review in a while. It Takes Two, a game we've been looking forward to for quite a while as well. Blessing, you have beat the entire game. So this is the Blessing review of It Takes Two.
Oh, snap. I'm nervous.
What do you want to start with?
Well, before we can go that, who else has been playing? Because I've been playing.
Right? I played 2 hours with Gia.
Okay.
My whole thing going into that is she does not play games at all.
Sure.
Infamously, a couple years ago, I tried getting her to play Super Mario World, trying to just get her to teach her through. She couldn't beat the first level. Sure, After about 30 minutes, I'm like, we're giving up. She's frustrated and she hates this. Not trying to push this
not the way to do
at
it,
all.
Yeah.
But with It Takes Two, I was like, you know what? This is a little bit different. It's been described as a romantic comedy game. And I'm like, I'm going to give this a shot. So we played for 2 hours and I'll tell you about my experience later because I want to hear about Bless's full thing. And then Greg, you played.
I've played 5 hours now. I'm in level 6 of 9, or environment 6 of 9 through the game. So I've made a pretty good clip. I've been playing with Jen the whole way too. And that's been the similar thing too. Not that obviously Jen works in games, but it's more the fact that, Jen, 97-year-old grandmother, goes to bed early. So I get a certain amount of hours out of her before it's like, all right, we'll pick this up tomorrow.
Yeah, for me, I was informed that there's no sniper rifle in the game, so I had
that
to
sounds
bow
about
out,
right. If you're not
unfortunately,
splattering brains,
Andy,
you
There
don't
is a
care.
dash though.
If
There's a
you
dash
wanted-
mechanic.
There's a nice dash.
There is a lot of shooting in there.
Yeah,
in
we're
terms
talking.
of
if you wanted
mechanics
to,
that
if you
you'll
wanted
end
to
up
play
getting.
with me, that we live together, it'd be kind of nice.
That would seem like
I
really
have
easy
to
with
go
you.
over there.
It only
like,
takes
it's-
2, man.
You can
It
also
only
play
takes
online.
Yeah, you could play online. You never have to leave
You
your
play online, yeah, but
Yeah.
I had to be right here,
Blessing. Go for it. What do you think?
I love this game. Honestly, this is some of the most fun I've had in a video game in maybe years.
Wow.
I am blown away by how fun this game is. Yeah, I legitimately hope this studio never stops making co-op games because they have found their bag. I don't know where to start. Like,
Wait, so
It-
first
What
off,
is It Takes Two, Blessing?
Joseph Fares won't give you $1,000. So let's get that off the table.
yeah, no, I am not getting $1,000 from Joseph
Damn.
Fares. That is first
Wow.
and foremost. I mean, It Takes Two is a co-op platformer game that's also a fusion of a bunch of different genres because from scene to scene they're always doing something crazy and different. You and your co-op partner plays a married couple, and I guess this is like very early game stuff. You play as a married couple that have transformed into these essentially doll-like creatures, and they're trying to figure out how to escape the situation they're in. That's the premise simplified. But from there, you're basically moving from environment to environment, level to level, taking on these different platforming challenges, taking on these different co-op challenges, and a lot like A Way Out, you're working together to figure out how to get to the next scene, how to do the next thing. And so that's the game. That's the game simplified. I think the big thing for me when it comes to why this game is so good is the fact that it has almost a Nintendo-ish sort of design philosophy to it, where it feels like they are introducing new mechanics very consistently from level to level. So one level you'll have one. So I played as the dude throughout my playthrough. My co-op partner played as his wife. You'll have one tool as the dude. The wife will have another tool, and that'll persist throughout the entire level. So for one level, for example, I had like a paint gun sort of thing, like a paint gun cannon, and my co-op partner had a grenade launcher that would light on fire when it would impact with the paint, which is a pretty cool thing. And so that mechanic lasted for I want to say an hour and a half maybe throughout that whole level, and it never overstayed its welcome. And all the juice that we got out of that mechanic, they found so many different ways just in the game design and different scenarios that they put you in to figure out how you can use that. And it was never not fun. There are a bunch of different mechanics that they continually introduce throughout the game, and it was never not fun, which is the thing that blew me away.
Yeah, that was the thing, when I did the preview of it, first impression with a bunch of gameplay of me and Lucy James from GameSpot playing is up on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. They gave a presentation before it. And, one of the things Joseph Fares was asked, or at least brought up from his presentation, was there's no collectibles in the game. And he's like, no, we didn't go in and shove coins or some weird thing or little hidden things for you to go do, because we want the game to be its own reward. We want it to be these lovingly crafted worlds you get involved with. And you hear that and it's like, oh yeah, of course. But playing it, even for that hour I did with Lucy, and then getting to go here, I couldn't get over that every environment you went to and every new mechanic you were given was this breath of fresh air, was this unexpected thing, was that thing. And I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this. And the fact that it keeps reinventing itself that way and changing things, and there's so many things I want to talk about, but I don't want to spoil, right? That I don't want to get into.
That's the difficult part about the game, is that I feel like with each reveal or with each new thing introduced, that becomes a reward upon itself.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that Joseph Fares mentioned that he didn't want to have collectibles in the game. There is a small form of collectible that is these player versus player mini games that you can do, where you'll basically face each other in either shooting challenges or actually I'm not gonna spoil that one because that was actually a fantastic one to discover. But like strength challenges, whatever it may be.
One of the
right?
ones
Like,
we showed in our preview was the whack-a-mole, right? Where one
Okay,
person
yes.
is the mole that goes underneath and pops out, and the other person is trying to knock him in the head.
Yeah, and that is one of the most fun collectibles that I've had in the game, because it was
Yeah.
this fun interactable thing. And towards the end of the game, me and the person I was playing with were both like, man, I hope there's a way to just play these solely, because these mini games are just fun to himself. And thankfully, yeah, you can teleport between them and do the specific mini games you want to do. Andy Cortez.
Standy Cortez.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Were there any of the frustrations that you might get from like a Portal game?
So I want to talk about that for a second.
Cracks and beer.
This game, no, it's a limoncello LaCroix.
Cello.
The
Wait, what's the other part of the lemon? Like what?
This one tastes more like, there's like lime and key lime. This one's more like a lemon pie type thing.
Lemon meringue?
Oh.
A lemon meringue.
Yeah,
type
sign
taste,
me
yeah.
up. I had a,
Yeah.
I had a
But I
lemon
was
meringue
thinking of
tart the other
like,
day.
But
like,
still-
what is that creating? Like if it was like
0 calories.
lemongerine, you'd be like, oh, lemon tangerine, right?
But
what is-
Mandarin?
Yeah. What does the cello come into it? What's the cello?
I think it just means little lemon.
Oh, it's a French. They're doing a French thing. Like
Yeah, exactly. This game to me is so far the king of aha moments. And granted, it is aha moments playing with Gia, who doesn't play games. So it was a lot of that for her was a big like little things for us of like, oh, we stand on this to open a door. She's not really that used to,
Sure.
But even for me being somebody that is much more experienced with games, it moves so quickly, like room to room, puzzle to puzzle, that
Yeah, you
so
beat
far
Cuphead,
in the
yeah.
2 hours, exactly. It's not Portal levels of like, you have to try for like 15 minutes to figure out exactly what you're doing, and then boom, you get it. There's just so many mini puzzles, but each one of them feels like you're not just doing something to do it. Every single one feels like it has a fun gimmick to it or something interesting that builds upon itself. Similarly to Mario 3D World, how we were talking about the way that it introduces a mechanic, makes it a little bit more challenging, and then continues that and like flips it. This game
Yeah.
does that so much, so often,
Constantly.
so quickly.
And that was Tim, when you walked away, that was the first thing I said, is that this game feels like it abides by Nintendo design philosophy. Like so the game is 11 hours in total for my playthrough that I did, and the game was paced amazingly. Like it kept that same thing up throughout the entire thing,
Wow.
where it would introduce a new major mechanic. Hey, this is the thing you're going to be doing throughout this whole level, and so you as this character are going to be shooting, while this character is going to be doing melee attacks or whatever the variant is for that level. And yeah, it does that exact thing where you get a few minutes in, cool, here's a twist on that.
Yep.
Cool, a few minutes later, here's another twist on that. All right, cool. Now we're going to change that up entirely in a way that makes you rethink with the mechanics that we just given. Cool, we're going to twist that now. Cool, here's a boss fight. Like, the way in which they continue to dole that stuff out is so good. And yeah, to what you said about comparing it to Portal, it does the aha moments so well, because the game in the 11 hours I played only had maybe a couple of moments where me and my co-op partner were stumped and didn't know, like, okay, what the fuck are we supposed to do here? And that only lasted maybe 3 minutes at most. Every other time, none of the challenges were too difficult for us to make us get frustrated, but difficult enough to make us go, oh shit, we did it, when we would figure it out.
Well, and
Totally.
the thing about it too is I feel like when you get to that stumped portion, or you don't know how to advance, and this is the other thing Joseph Ferris from Hazelight had talked about in the presentation, right, is that this game is designed to make you talk to each other. It's why he doesn't see it being a game you'd ever play with strangers. There's no random matchmaking, right? Like, this is an idea that you play with your friends, because a ping system wouldn't work here. And one of the things last night, Jen and I were playing, and I got to the end of this thing that she had to, go over here and control so I could actually get there. And I got there, and then she was trying to get over to me and started backtracking. And the thing was where we had to like, wait, what are we supposed to do here? It's this fascinating thing of the reason I felt every time we've run into something where it's like, wait, what are we supposed to do? It's because I know what I'm doing, but I need to understand what she's doing. Because the two characters, Cody and May, doing dramatically different things. And again, every level has a gimmick that it gives you your characters, but again, you don't have the same gimmick. So like, for me, it's the one that I liked, that I've liked the most in terms of like, oh man, this really broke my brain, right? Was like, May gets mag boots like Ratchet, right? And then I had the ability to shrink really small or get really big. And so it was that thing of trying to mix that up and do it, but like you're talking about, Blessing, where it's like, okay, walking on the wall, sure. Okay, shrinking it in here, fine. But then eventually having it where even even when she's not walking on a wall anymore, her world is still inverted. So she's no longer sticking to something, but she's upside down. And then how does that work when we need to swing on? Like, there's so many different iterations on it that you really need to talk to your partner and figure out, like, wait, what are you doing exactly? How does your gimmick work? Standy Cortez.
Bless. So it sounds like Bless is the only one who used online co-op, because Tim and Greg were probably using a shared screen.
Yeah.
So Bless, I'm assuming, did you use that share with a friend mode or whatever it is they call it?
No, so I played with a person who from another outlet who happened to get a code.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
Yeah, and so that
Per
worked
Schneider.
pretty well. Yeah, I played with Per Schneider from Adeoye Jr. I played from Yami from Twinfinite, and the online worked really well. Like, there were only a few moments where I could tell that something was off, where she was wall jumping and the wall jumping on my screen seemed off, and I made a joke about it, and she was like, "Wait, I don't get it," and I was like, "Oh, on my screen, this looks weird." But yeah, it worked pretty well on playing online, and it, of course, when you're playing online, it still has that split screen, because the idea is it is supposed to be like this local co-op, and also you do want to see what
You
your
have
partner
to
is
see
doing.
it, right? Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
understand what they're seeing and why it isn't working, and especially when you're trying to
Exactly.
time stuff out. And 1, 2, 3, both of you jump, both of you slam,
Exactly.
both of you do whatever you need to do.
And there's a lot of that, which I found to be really fun. But yeah, another thing I love about this game is that it feels like almost all of the 3D platformers I've played from the N64, PlayStation 2, PS3 era all smashed together, but then
Yeah.
also they removed all the fat from it. Where it is almost like, and I feel like this is overselling in hyperbole, but this is how much I love this game. It feels like Naughty Dog made a platformer in certain places, in the ways that the set pieces just flow from one to the next over and over, and so you're always just doing something new and exciting, back
Starring
to
Troy
back,
Baker.
and it keeps up.
I mean, the loop there is great, because Andy, earlier you were asking about if the puzzles are frustrating or anything. It's like, what I like about it is that not only are they not frustrating, they're very, like, they make you feel good when you figure them out, even if it doesn't take that long. Then actually doing it, the challenge itself, is also fun. Like, I feel like they do a really good job of kind of like coming through with the offer of what they're presenting to you, where it's like, okay, cool. Oh, this is what we need to do. Now let's actually try to do it. And you might fail it a couple times, because like what we ended up playing, and it took us 2 hours because we're playing with somebody that doesn't play video games at all. So the idea of a camera was very difficult to explain to her. But we got all the way through a boss fight, which, like, I imagine would have took you guys probably 45 minutes to get through. But like, there was a lot of different types of gameplay and a lot of different experiences, but I always was engaged with the puzzles and then the actual platforming challenges that the puzzles are aligned with. And that was something that I didn't necessarily expect, because a lot of the times, and especially early on in these type of games, it's like, okay, I know exactly what to do. I'm just going to keep running. And, Andy, we've been playing Mario 3D World, and it's like, if we weren't looking for the green stars, we're just kind of blazing through this thing getting to the end, But it's like, when you stop and kind of like are forcing yourself to get the challenge, that's where the fun comes. This game is that challenge. This game is designed around that, and making sure that every single moment is interesting.
And you're how many hours in, Tim?
2 hours, but I think it's a real 45 minutes.
Okay,
There was one part where like there's these two fans spinning, and we need to jump from fan to fan, and a lot of deaths, guys. A lot of deaths.
So based on what Bless said, I mean, this is 11 hours ish of just pure unbridled fun, consistent, right? There weren't a whole lot of, you didn't really experience any dips of like, I mean, this level kind of sucks or whatever.
Not really. Like, there's moments where the game breathes. Like, that was actually a thing that surprised me a little bit, where you get to certain levels and they are, hey, here's a bit of open exploration, and you and your co-op partner can fuck around, and like, you never really talk to NPCs in the way that you would in like an RPG or whatever, but there will be like NPCs hanging out, and you can fuck around with them a little bit, or you can skate on grind rails or whatever for a bit.
Bro? What?
Dude, there's an ice world where you can ice skate for a little bit and just hang out, and like there are quite a few of those moments that shocked me when we got there, because it felt like, again, to the benefit of pacing, they had figured out how to make those moments breathe. But I don't think there was a level for me where I was like, this is a downer, or this is going slow. Like, there are a few moments where I felt like they were going long with certain mechanics, but I think that was just because I expected the game to be a similar length as A Way Out, and instead it was just way longer.
Yeah, I can't overstate how how different every level is, how different every biome is. And even when you like, you're traversing through the house, it's the parents in these dolls trying to get to their daughter to get out of the dolls, right? And so like I thought early on I was like and that's the thing about it, like with no spoilers, like we're playing it, and again, the concept, that Blessing talked about it, it's this cooperative rom-com. It's, the daughter finds out her parents are getting divorced and, accidentally casts a spell on them, and they're in these dolls, right? And so it gives off this early on, a little bit of it is this like cutesy kind of thing, and it is oriented around the kid a bit. But then like it gets into like, there's this very specific section where like it is fucked up, and like Jen was like, this is fucked up, and I'm like, I know it is, and I love it because they're playing it so well, of the parents being like, this is, we have to do this, we're sorry, and like I won't get into any about it, but it was like they fuck around with that a lot to make it enjoyable, and to take those turns you don't expect, and then to go into environments and places you don't expect. And one thing we haven't talked about, like, and I want to ask questions about for both Blessing and Tim to a lesser extent. The performances, I think the voice acting is so well done, and the mocap is so well done. But my question would be, Blessing, did you connect with the story? Were you in for the story?
Not really, and I think part of it is not really, because I think part of it is it does skate that line of, hey, we're a comedy, but with real shit going on. And so when they got into some of the real shit, through the majority of the game, I was like, okay, whatever. It is what it is. It's a story about divorce, and I guess we're just gonna go through those motions. Toward the very end, that did get me into it. I was like, okay, I do like where they're going, because the game takes a turn halfway where they start dealing more directly with the divorce and all that shit. And that was the moment that started getting me a little bit invested in that relationship. And toward the end, I think they did get me. But I do think the comedy stuff did land well with me for the most part. Like, I think there are a lot of funny jokes, there are a lot of funny bits. They do funny stuff with gameplay where all of a sudden you're playing a different genre of game and you're like, what the fuck, where'd this come from? And that stuff is really fun and cool.
Is that why Jen tweeted that out this morning, Greg?
I didn't even see what she tweeted. What did she tweet?
She tweeted this morning, like, when was the last time you really laughed at a video game? Or something, why aren't there funny video games?
I haven't got a chance to talk to her today if that was driven by it, but it might be part of it, right? Where are all the funny video games at? Well, then she follows up with what the golf she worked on, right? Because she's trying to do like that kind of thing. No, we're enjoying the comedy of it, but the problem, she's having a bigger problem with it than I am, but I do agree with her, is that right now where we are, 5 hours in, 6 levels out of 9, they're just, I think, starting to get to the real shit you're talking about, where they're in therapy and doing it. And for me, this should have happened 3 hours ago, because it's been 6 levels, or maybe 5, of them being like, this wouldn't be your fault if you didn't do this. Well, you should have done this. And it's like, as long as that's gone on, it's like, man, you guys are just not meant to be together. And and maybe that's what the payoff's going to be when I get to the end. Maybe that is the payoff, right? But it's also that thing of like, yeah, we get it. You don't like each other. Fuck. All right. Like, break up. Gee, like, it's like, it's not enjoyable. If I was expecting a softening quicker than this. We're in an outrageous scenario trying to get to our daughter and trying to get back to life. Maybe we should be chill about the fact that you work too much or whatever. Like, we're putting that aside, or we're going to start healing quicker. And like, now that the therapy stuff's happening, I'm hoping we're going to get there. Like, last night, I don't even, 30 minutes before I stopped playing, 40 minutes, we finally had the first moment where it was that, wait, do you really feel that way? Yeah. Oh. And it's like, well, yeah. Fuck, why didn't this happen 3 levels ago?
Or why didn't this happen during the act, like before this point? Because like the game starts where after they've already made that decision of they're gonna get divorced, and there are certain things in the story that are introduced where it's like, man, you guys apparently just really did not communicate as a couple. And that was the thing both me and my co-op partner were saying. We're like, man, they are not meant to be. Like, this couple is doomed with how everything is going with things that are introduced with their relationship, because they are talking about things like, hey, I wish you would have done this for me. Hey, I wish you would have been home more. I wish you would have done X, Y, and Z. And it's stuff that is very like top level and basic level that it's hard for me to believe that they're just now having these conversations. But yeah, to your point, you would be surprised, right? I try not to like judge that aspect too hard, because every relationship is different, and obviously like relationships fall apart all the time because of lack of communication.
I'm really interested to play this game as a child of like 2, 1.5 failed marriages, and like really see like how they go about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I do hear what Greg's saying though, because there are points in the story where I'm like, I wish they would have introduced this sooner. Like the therapy part that we're talking about right now, right? Like I think that is a thing that should have been introduced earlier. And I think there are parts even later on that are after where Greg's at, where you're gonna get there and you're gonna be like, where was this the whole time? Why? This is a weird thing to introduce this late in the game.
Sorry, please go.
I was gonna say it feels like certain story elements in the game they didn't. It feels like they didn't know where to introduce certain things. Like it feels like certain people weren't talking in terms of what the A, B, and C of the story is going to be.
Yeah, I'm happy you guys are both saying this. Go for it, Greg.
I was gonna say, I'll be quick. Sorry, and that's what's been interesting because we'll play it for long or not long. Well, I guess we've been trying to play it since Saturday, right? So longer periods of time to go through it, and it's that thing is I can see it wear Jen down, right? But then today she's like, "Are we playing tonight?" Like, I really want to play. Like, she likes the gameplay. We want to see the story through, but it's been a interesting. Like, why are you making it so hard to root for them?
Mm-hmm. I'm happy you guys said all that before I gave my opinion on the opening of this game. And this is going to sound way harsher than the realities of what this game potentially can be and what it sounds like it is from Bless. But I asked Gia, I was like, hey, no pressure. Would you be down to try this with me or whatever? And she's like, yeah, sure. So of course there's then a pressure on me of like, oh fuck, I hope it's good. I hope whatever. And when we started the game, like I was legitimately embarrassed. Like as the story was playing out in the very beginning before we actually got to play the game, and I was in my own head about it, but I'm like, oh fuck, like this is what Gia thinks I do when I'm playing games is like watch this level of storytelling and like the actual content of what's being said between these characters. It's like, the pitch of it is that I gave her is like, oh, it's like a rom-com like Pixar movie, and it's like this ain't no Pixar movie. And granted, those are extremely high standards, but it's one of those things where for the amount of time I've talked to her about what narrative in video games can be and like, The Last of Us and all this stuff. It's like to see this, I was kind of like, oh man. But then there's a character introduced very early on that totally changed that. And I'm like, okay, cool. This motherfucker is my homie.
Are you talking about Dr. Hakeem?
Is the GOAT, man. Like, and immediately it got her more in. She was laughing and I'm like, okay, good. Like there's something here. And at the end of the day, that's a video game. Like there needs to be that intro set up to just kick things off and get things going. Because once the actual gameplay started, the characters back and forths were funny and were interesting. It is very one note about the divorce so far. And I can see what you guys are saying. I'm not surprised that it takes a while to get past
Takes two.
You broke this and said you were going to fix it. Well, you said blah, blah, blah. It's like,
and that persists throughout.
And that's why it's so fucked up that you're where you are in
imagine.
level 1 where that happens and it's still happening. Like, all right.
Yeah. And I can imagine that, but that's kind of the balance between what they're trying to do here. And I do think that, this being more for kids, I can see this being an amazing experience for them. After we were done playing, I asked Gia, I was like, because throughout it, I wasn't asking her how what she thought about it. I wasn't giving my opinion. I just wanted it to be raw from her. And her response was that like she thought it was very lacking in content and it, was like kind of cringeworthy at times for what it was trying to go for, but that she totally gets the appeal of the gameplay and that while she wasn't good at it, was getting really frustrated. She really understands. And the idea that this is mainly for kids is awesome. And I think a big thing there is you don't die in this game. Like it is very much made to kind of make you feel good and make you get through these different things. So even if you die a bazillion times, you pop back immediately. There's so many different ways to, even in a boss fight, it's like you just kind of need to mash triangle a lot and then you're back. And I liked that because it wasn't just Gia dying over and over and over, feeling like she wasn't doing anything. When she would die, she had to interact with the controller. She had to actually do something to bring her character back. And I can totally imagine, a like 7-8-year-old kid being fucking in love with this world and in love with the funny characters that we're seeing, and especially Dr. Hakeem.
See, I don't know if I would call this a kid's game at all. Like there I mean, in terms of dialogue and narrative and all that stuff, there's weird moments of cuss words like being introduced.
Really?
And like there was like a whole scene where they start talking about a relationship and like they went super hard on that, and I was like, oh, this feels kind of out of place for this game where that otherwise feels like it is family friendly.
Classic Joseph Fares.
Yeah, this is back to what I was talking about, right? Of like that that whole fucked up segment where it's like I think it can give off the vibe, especially early on, that it's a kid's game, but I don't think it is. No, like I think it is designed for us, like people who want to play it with their significant other and kind of go through that rather than a brother or something like that as you'd be growing up. Even though it's cute, even though the gameplay could suffice there, I think the connective tissue would be a turnoff.
I would have never thought that you all would have felt this way going into this game, and I'm kind of excited to look into it now. Are we putting the official Kind of Funny approved seal badge on this video game?
We sure are, Andy. Show it to him.
Fuck.
Did you make
Do
it
the
yet?
jingle for it too.
I asked you to make
You
it.
can't like ask a question like that and not have something prepared, Andy. Come on.
You're right, dude. You're right. No, I don't have a jingle. I don't have a jingle or anything. No.
We'll get started on it, and then just when we'll tweet it. We'll tweet it at Joseph Ferris.
okay. Because like I want to see our names on like the It Takes Two. Kind of Funny
Sure.
says.
Kind of Funny approved.
You know, Kind of Funny approved. Yeah.
I'll say it right
Thumbs
now.
up.
Right now, it is my #1 game of the year. Like
I was about to ask that too.
I'm sure
Wow.
something is gonna come
That's a great
down
poll
later
quote
in the
right
year
there.
and
There you
dethrone
go.
it. But like right now, it is my favorite game I've played this year. I am blown away by it.
Blessing, do me a favor and say that as one clean sentence that could like fit on like a box in a quote.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It Takes Two is currently my. Wait, hold on. I need to get it clean. I need to get it clean.
No, this is the running quote. EA's writing all this down. to put
No,
in the
not even.
commercial.
No, don't include this on the box, EA,
Fucking
please.
God damn it. God damn it. Shit.
It Takes Two is currently my game of the year. Currently,
That was great.
emphasis on currently.
I don't.
Mine's gonna be in there as
honestly,
well.
I mean, I'm not done with it. It's obvious, as I've said, but like, I could easily see this still being in the top 5 of your game of the year by the end of the year.
Same,
Like, I think
honestly.
again, this game is so inventive and so clever and so interesting, and it is that even as I play it now, I'm going to be down afterwards to play it again from the other perspective, to go be May and see what that experience is like, and play it with other people, and jump in online and do stuff that way. Like, it's something really, really special.
Here's another pull quote.
Andy, you haven't played it.
Okay, It Takes Two looks interesting. I might think about it, and it'll be in my thoughts. And also, the guy from the Sesame Street video, not a pervert.
Also,
not
get your
a
creator
pedophile.
code in there. Get your creator
Are we
code.
talking?
let's
Are we
stick with
talking
that.
about the puppet or the human? I still need clarification.
I'm glad that guy seems to be a good person. Creator code.
Well, that we
Maximum
don't know.
Cortez.
There's just a lot of. This is not confirmed. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
got it. Okay.
One of my few complaints actually is Dr. Hakim though. I feel like Dr. Hakim is weirdly like
It's
over
it's
the
on a
top,
line. It's on a line.
stereotypical. It's on
Yeah.
a line, and like throughout he continues on the line throughout the whole game. Where I mean, for folks who might not understand who Dr. Hakim is, he is this sentient book that is like this book of love that is supposed to therapize your marriage or whatever, and he is characterized by this very stereotypical Mexican voice, like in character, that is that is supposed to be like light and funny and all this stuff. But at points I was like, this seems like a lot. They're really leaning into like this character in a way that I don't know how I feel about, but it's not like ruin the game offensive or anything like that, but it is like a I don't know. I don't know
The
about
thing
this
for
one.
me with as far as I've gotten into it is like I feel like that's just kind of embedded in my expectations more than what's actually presented to me, because it's like Hakeem, not a traditional Mexican
Not at all.
name, you know what I mean? It's like that is it's Indonesian, and with that it's kind of like I kind of took it as this sounds like a thing that could be problematic, but like it's distance enough and different enough for me that so far I'm like it's not crossing that line, but it is one of those things where it's like when Nick's talking on a podcast, I'm like, at any moment, I might need to be like, maybe we shouldn't do that,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you know what? They get to pass for me. Joseph Fada is Spanish, and he is not Spanish. I've seen the name Fades before, and I've seen Mexicans back home with that name, but he is Swedish and Lebanese. So never mind.
The voice actor is Joseph Balderrama, who was born in Mexico
Wilmer's
City.
brother.
Okay. We were trying to figure that out when we were playing too, because we were like the line would be if it was voice acted by just a white dude or
Yeah.
somebody who's
Yeah,
not,
yeah,
yeah.
somebody
That would
who's
be
not
bad.
Latino at all.
Well, and that
so
was the
that
thing of,
helps
like,
it out.
And like I know nothing about it, right? And obviously I'm a fucking generic ass white dude from the middle of the country, so it's not like I'm out here like briefed on all of this and like what's acceptable or not. The way I took it, right, was the fact that understanding obviously it's 2021 and that Haze Light, Joseph Ferris, and EA are all on top of what the hell's going on in the world. That the way they play him up, Dr. Hakim, right, where like the language of love and like the strum of the guitar they have every time he comes in and the way he talks, and I think he says Olay a couple times, like
He
it
does
was
talk in
striking me
Spanish
that they
quite a
were
bit.
very much doubling down on this like Spanish Fly kind of influence, or like, you know, this love letter to it, rather than it being offensive. It was actually trying to be like that characterization of it, I guess.
Mhm.
I'm usually fine with stuff like that. Like I know Cyberpunk had its fair share of criticism with how every mix, hey, it's on like this, essay, and then thinking about it, it's like, well, I know a lot of people back home who talk like that. like that's
Like, this is accurate to the people.
a majority, a lot of people that I know speak like that. So
Do they
I don't
say
know.
"hasta la vista"? Because he does say
No.
"hasta la vista" at some point. You know, we both, me and
Arnold
people, the person
Schwarzenegger
I was
says
playing
that,
with, were
though.
like, that is not a Spanish term, I don't think.
Hasta
But yeah, no,
luego, maybe.
I got more comfortable with it when later in the game they started introducing like other characters that were from other dialects and stuff. Because for the longest time, Dr. Hakim in the game was kind of the only one, and it was him. It is me as Corey playing this American dude, and then my British wife, and then everybody else being British. When they started
kid's
introducing
British.
and the kid's British, when they started introducing more characters that were like had different dialects and were other kind of stereotypical stuff thrown in, and that's why I was like, okay, I feel a little bit better about this. But yeah,
Games Radar has an interview up with Ferris where he talks a little bit about it. And quote, Dr. Hakim is a cheesy character, yes, but cliches are cliches for a reason, Ferris explains. It's not about just knowing, it's about realizing. This guy is very cheesy and obvious guy, but if you listen to him closely, if you do really realize it's the equivalent of therapy sessions. I don't know how many, but as long as the game is, if you go to the therapist with a 1 hour session, you have 14 therapy sessions. Let's market it that way.
God bless this man. I just love.
Dude, Joseph Ferris gives
the
no
amount
fucks,
of
and I
words
appreciate
he puts
it.
in a sentence that it's like, I don't know if any of that made sense, but you know what? I love it. You'll love to see it. Love to hear it.
love him.
Well, everyone, check out It Takes Two. It gets the kind of funny 2 thumbs up seal of
Did
approval.
you finish
I
it
don't know
yet?
what we're calling
What's
it.
the seal of approval look like? Did you finish it, Andy?
Ooh, yeah. So working. I'm exporting it right now.
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Hell yeah.
Cool, cool. Well, hopefully we'll get to that in the post show for patreon.com/kindafunnygames supporters. We'll see you there. If not, we'll see you next week. Love you.